The story begins by showing our hero, who else if not Hutch Mansell, the same as in the first movie, appearing all beaten up in the interrogation room. What kind of chaos did he cause this time? But this time, a wolf dog sits beside him. And as usual, when the interrogator asks who he really is, Hutch simply answers, "Who the fuck are you two?"
Who the f are you two?
We're...
Continuing from the first movie, Hutch Mansell now lives more openly, no longer hiding anything from his family. But his wife begins to feel bored and lonely because almost every day Hutch and their two children are rarely at home. One evening, right after finishing his job, Hutch still manages to chat with his wife, who complains about him always coming home late. Hutch immediately apologizes and promises not to repeat it again. The next morning, Hutch notices a change in his wife's attitude. She looks annoyed because Hutch seems busier with work than with his family. So when she is about to go exercise at the local gymnasium, Hutch tries to cheer her up, promising to take her and the kids on a vacation. But he still hasn't decided on a destination.
All right, we should, What's going on?
Time for work. This time, Hutch's mission is to steal a data card from an IT expert guarded by 3 men. The fight takes place in a very narrow spot, the elevator. And this is what happens. After finishing off the enemies in the elevator, Hutch is immediately welcomed by several thugs armed with guns. Hutch manages to blow them all up. But then, Hutch faces Brazilian thugs armed with machetes. Coming empty-handed, Hutch quickly removes his belt and grabs an iron pipe behind him. And this is what he does. After defeating all the thugs, Hutch notices a sticker on a car. Plummerfield Water Park, a tourist spot in a small town that he once visited as a child. Finally, Hutch finds the perfect destination for a family vacation, while also reminiscing his childhood memories. After getting the item, Hutch meets his boss. It turns out all of Hutch's jobs are to pay off his massive debt, around $30 million, a consequence of what he did in the first movie when he burned the Mafia's investment money. So far, only a portion of the debt has been repaid. Exhausted, Hutch tells his boss that he needs time off for a short vacation with his family. His boss simply says, "Good luck." And Hutch answers, "What do I need luck for?"
Although the Plummerfield ad looks outdated, Hutch tries to convince his wife and kids that the place is perfect for them. Don't look at the location, look at the togetherness. They need shared memories to strengthen family harmony.
Just want to show you guys the place that made me happiness. And make some memories for you.
Not only the 4 of them, but Hutch's father, the grandfather, also comes along. Arriving at the Plummerfield Water Park, Hutch shows them the hotel room. But Grandpa, who prefers nature and hates crowds, chooses to stay in an old cabin in the nearby forest. Since the swimming pool is closed due to an incident, Hutch and his family decide to eat at a restaurant. While lost in thought, reminiscing about his childhood, Hutch accidentally makes eye contact with a sheriff who dislikes being stared at.
You got a problem?
Sorry, I was just thinking.
Hutch?
Everything's good.
After eating, Hutch and his family go to the arcade. His son plays and wins tickets. But then 3 girls approach him. One of them happens to be the girlfriend of a local youth. This escalates into conflict. His son refuses to leave. The youth snatches the little sister's doll and tears it apart. Hutch argues with the park guards to defend his kids, but his wife calms him down and asks him to just leave.
My badger!
Leave it.
Ouch!
Unfortunately, before leaving, the guard slaps Hutch's daughter, something Hutch cannot forgive. Outside, Hutch decides to turn back. This leads to another fight.
How's that feel?
And eventually, Hutch and his family are taken to the local police station, where Hutch meets the same sheriff from the restaurant, Abel.
Sit your ass down.
Introduce him. His name is Wat Martin. Let's just call him Wet. The sheriff and also the person considered number 1 in this small town. Turns out, the local young man who fought with the older brother was none other than the son of Mr. Wet. He once threatened to prolong the matter. Mr. Wet finally understood after it was explained that his son was actually the trigger of the fight, so Hutch and his son were immediately allowed to leave at that moment.
Walk him out. So that's it then? We can go.
Do yourself a favor.
Unlike Wet, his superior, Abel, who was actually a nobody, seemed unwilling to accept that decision. He appeared to be the kind of crooked officer who liked to act arbitrarily, and this was proven when he ordered his colleague to contact several thugs to teach Hutch and his family a lesson.
Get the boys.
The next day, Hutch and his family continued their vacation with full joy. Among them, the mother, who played shooting games and apparently had a very high accuracy. Hutch played ball with his younger siblings in the ball pool, ran around in the glass house, and as for the grandfather, satisfied with the dames, Hutch and his family then tried riding duck boats together. At that moment, Hutch had already noticed the presence of a sheriff and 3 thugs who kept tailing him from behind. Not wanting to involve his family in trouble, Hutch told them to go ahead while he would follow later. On another duck boat, Hutch calmly welcomed the 4 of them, suggesting that if there was any problem, they could talk it over peacefully. But what happened? Without the guide and the 2 elderly passengers realizing it, Hutch fought the thugs all by himself. After punches and blows were exchanged, the sheriff, who was beaten badly, dared to take a sharp weapon
and managed to cut off one of Hutch's left fingers. Yes, when Hutch fell out of the boat, the thugs immediately got angry at the sheriff and demanded double pay after realizing that the opponent they were facing was not an ordinary tourist. And before the negotiation even ended, Hutch had already climbed back up and started brutally beating all of them more seriously. After finishing them off, Hat sat alone waiting for his family who were still on the boat. Hat took the time to call his brother named Harry, who happened to be in Japan studying the culture there.
What's up?
Hey, you remember Plummerville?
One of the happiest weeks of my life.
Yeah, mine too.
Hat vented about this small town that had changed a lot. Not the same as when they were kids. Now the officers were arrogant, hot-tempered, but not to the point of running over their people. Where Harry finally told him that Plummerville, the small town, had long been used as a place for smuggling illegal goods such as liquor, drugs, and so on. Even the local authorities themselves colluded with a larger syndicate network.
It's an old trade route used since the bootlegging days. Why you think Dad took us there for our one and only family vacation?
Not satisfied with Harry's explanation, Hat called his superior to find out more about the big syndicate, where a name finally appeared: Landina, a cruel and dangerous woman who was believed to control almost all illegal businesses in the United States. Landina.
Landina.
Drugs, guns, viruses, and worse come down from it.
And true to what Harry and the superior said, Mr. Wet, the warden of this small town, indeed had a special role in smuggling illegal goods and money belonging to the syndicate, just like Abel, who was made his right-hand man to handle such matters.
Remember who's boss here.
Got it.
Not long after Wyatt left, Abel received a call from his colleague who was already badly beaten. He told him that HS, this one tourist, was not the same as ordinary conventional tourists. And let me take you to a hidden casino run by none other than Landina herself, where you will immediately witness how cruel she is when she stabbed the hand of one of her guests just because he was caught cheating. And yes, after killing that guest, and even her own employee, Landina ordered her aide to slaughter all the guests present that day to eliminate witnesses to the incident. What we all did not know was that Mr. Wei was actually forced to become Landina's subordinate in order to pay off all his late father's debts. Wyatt reminded Landina about the debts of his father, which according to his calculations were already paid, and he admitted he had had enough of being in this business circle.
Ain't nothing funny about what I said.
Hearing that Wyatt wanted to quit, of course Landina didn't like it. So to make Wyatt stay working for her, Landina planned to kidnap Wyatt's son, the same one who had fought with the older brother. And guess to whom the task was given?
Hello?
Sheriff.
You can just call me.
Yes, that person was Abel, Wyatt's own deputy who had secretly betrayed Wyatt without his knowledge.
Take something that really matters to him.
It didn't take long for Abel to kidnap the young man, Wyatt's son. Landina's men even arrived to take the boy to their headquarters. However, what Abel didn't know was that HS was already on his way to the warehouse where they operated, with the purpose of making a deal so that they would no longer disturb his family's vacation.
Hey, fellas.
How did you get in here?
The door.
And reckless, truly reckless,
It wouldn't be his trademark if he didn't have the guts to come and enter the lion's den alone. Armed with gasoline and a lighter, Hutch threatened to burn all of Lendina's money if Abel continued disturbing his family's vacation.
But
Yes, thinking Hutch was just bluffing, Abel still didn't realize what kind of man he was dealing with. Not wanting to risk problems involving Lendina's money and goods, Abel finally agreed not to disturb his family's vacation anymore. Just as Hutch was about to leave, the young man tried to escape and ask for help. But HS just walked away because he didn't want to get involved in something that wasn't his business. And yes, once again H involved himself in trouble when he interfered in other people's affairs. Hutch fought all of Lendina's men to save Wyatt's son from there. When H was about to take the young man away, Abel tried to stop him. But guess what happened next? Yes, all of Lendina's money and goods were burned to ashes, without leaving a single thing. The news quickly reached Lendina, who immediately wanted to know who the culprit was. Hutch was truly mysterious. Even Lendina's men had trouble finding data or background on him. All they knew was that Hutch was on vacation with his family. So without wasting time, Lendina immediately mobilized all her troops to go to Plamerfield and burn the small town to the ground.
checked out of the hotel.
This guy's an idiot.
Hutch himself had already arrived at the old cabin where the grandfather stayed, bringing the young man who immediately reconciled with his older brother. For the time being, H would secure his family in this old cabin and try to make his wife understand about the situation he was in now.
You don't tell me what to do. You were a lot of things.
Of course, as a wife, she couldn't immediately understand. H needed time to explain it to her slowly. It ended with a promise to take her out for meatball soup together before she was willing to listen.
So go fix it.
After settling with his wife, Hutch met with Wyatt to invite him to cooperate. But just as he arrived, Wyatt was already angry because his son had been kidnapped.
Use your help. He's okay.
That's where my son dead man. My safe from Mandina.
And after finding out his son was safe, Wyatt was finally willing to listen about Lendina, who was their common enemy. With the fact that H had already burned Lendina's money and goods, Wyatt could already imagine how furious she must be now. In the past, Lendina had slaughtered an entire bloodline just for something trivial, let alone this. Surely she would burn down the whole town and everyone in it.
As preparation, Wet showed what he had, like old rifles that still functioned. Next, they would determine the location where the Great War would take place, namely the Plummerfield Water Park, most of whose rides were already damaged and unusable.
You're gonna get a free refill. Let's go now.
Hutch not alone. He got help from his brother who had just returned. Who else if not Harry, who had just arrived from Japan. Not only Harry, but even the grandfather would also join this party, taking position right at the top of the Ferris wheel. With their help, Hutch turned the water park into a war zone. They prepared various deadly traps to face the dozens of Lendina's men who would come. Not long after the traps were prepared, Lendina appeared with her convoy of troops. And just as Wei had predicted, Lendina ordered her aide to carry out a massacre, burning everything down.
Scorched earth. No prisoners.
When the time came, Abel was still alive and acted as the front line, stepping forward first to face Hutch and Wyatt, feeling he had power and backing from Lendina. With his arrogant style, Abel asked the two of them to surrender. But guess what happened to him?
What an ass pain he is. Take him out.
Copy that.
Yes, after Abel was shot dead by Lendina's own troops, the battle immediately began, with Lendina sending her first team, not knowing that in every corner and ride, deadly traps had been set. And this was what happened.
It's Wyatt's turn to take action.
He lured the enemies into the ball pool that had previously been filled with live mines. And back to Hutch, who was luring enemies to the water slide where the traps he had set up were extremely brutal and very likely to cause a yellow dollar. And yes, the grandfather used a Gatling gun to save Hutch, who was in trouble, but the enemies quickly noticed and managed to blow up the Ferris wheel where he was hiding. And for a moment, let's leave Hutch and switch to the old cabin where his family was hiding. According to Lendina's orders, the aide and his men were sent there to massacre Hutch's family. But what they didn't realize was that there was already one person specifically assigned to protect them, namely, yes, during his time in Japan, Harry had learned ninja fighting techniques and used a katana for battle.
Katana versus machete were clashed with great speed and deadliness. Harry seemed very well trained in such fights, and it didn't take long for him to split the aide into two pieces. Back to Hutch. After finishing off most of the enemy troops, now Hutch had to face Lendina directly, who was always accompanied by her two female bodyguards, who were actually skilled fighters. After Hutch was beaten badly by her two guards, Lendina then inflicted pain little by little using her small knife. Just as she was about to finish Hutch off forever,
Take him out. I'm bored with him. Lay down. Face.
suddenly, yes, the wife came just in time with her hunting rifle. At that moment, Lendina quickly threw her small knife, and here's what happened. Just as Lendina was rendered powerless, the grandfather, who had just regained consciousness, immediately activated the explosives that had been prepared to wipe out the remaining enemy troops. So, after Hutch and his comrades survived by jumping into the water, the tension finally came to an end. Hutch and his wife, accompanied by their new dog, were immediately interrogated by the FBI regarding the incident. But just like in the first movie, a high-ranking official suddenly called the interrogators, ordering them to release Hutch and his family immediately. The end. An ending that is always satisfying. The message we can take from this movie is, think before you speak, because maybe by doing so you have reduced mistakes and problems that may occur. Stay calm and relaxed forever. I am Saitama, on behalf of the Board of Directors, saying thank you and see you in the next video. Alios de Contolanos, Hollow Knees, Pharaoh's grandson eats hot dogs. Chuau chuau chuau.